You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome to Inspiring Leaders. I'm Donna Newman, your host, and thank you for watching our program. Through this show, we meet community leaders and we examine how they're using their unique talents and skill sets to make a difference. And through our discussions, we hope to inspire others to discover and to share their own leadership abilities for the overall betterment of our community. Now, today on our show, we'll focus on the Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis, whose tagline is Training the Next Generation of Heroes. During our show today, we'll meet Ladell Beamon, founder and CEO of Heal the Hood Foundation. And in our second segment, Ladell and I will be joined by Coach Lionel Hollins, Chairman of the Board of Directors for the Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis. Joining us now is Ladell Beamon, founder and CEO of the Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis. Welcome, Ladell.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to see you today. Thank you so much for being here. You are doing really remarkable things, but let's start at the beginning. First of all, tell me, Ladell, what is your background and how did you come to found the Heal the Hood Foundation?
Well, I'll say this. I grew up in the inner city. A single parent home. Was raised, up around all the elements that a lot of kids of today have, in a single parent home. So it was drug dealing, it was trafficking, it was gang banging. It was a lot of things that were happening in the community. And my grandmother, the thing about her, she was in a wheelchair and she raised 9 kids from a wheelchair.
You're kidding.
9 kids from a wheelchair and 26 adopted kids that were foster kids from the military that she would get. And so she did it all from a bed, so there was no excuses. My grandmother eliminated all excuses. And when you walked in the door, and that has a lot to do with who I am now, because there's a sign even to this day that says who you are is God's gift to you, but what you make of yourself is your gift to God. And so that was the mantra in our household. And so the light post, when the lights came on at night, and if you were outside and you couldn't hear my grandmother's voice, you were in trouble. you had to be in the house at a certain time, so we couldn't hang out with certain elements. And so because of that, I was kept away from a lot of those elements, and then ended up going off to in the 6th grade, getting a clarinet. And going to Colonial Creative and Performing Arts School, and I went to Overton High School, Creative and Performing Arts Schools. Everything that was outside the neighborhood. And I learned that something that Bishop Brandon Porter said here in Memphis. He said that once a person's mind has been expanded, it can no longer be reduced to its former state. So when I came back every day into the neighborhood, 4 of my friends that stayed in the neighborhood, they ended up being on America's Most Wanted.
Okay, wait a minute. Really?
Yes, ma'am. They were on America's Most Wanted.
Oh my gracious!
Before I even graduated high school, and so I realized that it was something uniquely that God was doing. I just didn't know what then. But after that, it started the trajectory for Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis, kind of like a loose base then. And so I just saw things differently.
God bless grandmothers, first of all,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, lots of people have the opportunity presented in front of them like you're talking about, and they are saved from the elements, but they don't go found a foundation. So how did that come about?
Well, it was a kid when I did a little acting, when I was 19 on the East Coast, and traveling with passion plays and really seeing people's lives being changed. Get back and started an after-school program under another organization, and I was just thrusted out there to recruit kids. And before I knew it, we had 60 kids in the program.
Gracious.
And one of those kids, disappeared for a minute, came back, and told me that he wanted me to help him when he came back for the summer because he went off to Job Corps. And Marvin Robinson, I never got a chance to see him again after the day we talked, because they found him on Faro Street in South Memphis with his brains blown out through the back of his head. And the kid wanted to progress. I didn't know that he was involved in gang activity. And 2 weeks later, when the police couldn't find out who murdered him, the community spray painted these T-shirts, "We love Marvin Robinson," and the murderer came forward, and it was his best friend. And so that just showed me that a lot of kids keep repeating the cycle over and over again because they're inside of a prison of their own community. And it was the arts that changed my life, and it was the arts that was changing his life. He just wanted to be celebrated and to express himself. And at that point, that's what started birthing Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis. So everywhere I go, every audience, I look at in that audience and see if there's a Marvin Robinson or a kid that has that same trajectory that I can help, redirect.
That's amazing. I mean, honestly, you changed a lot of lives with this, haven't you?
Well, glory be to God. And that's what's happening. So it's been a team of us, this come together for all the right causes and the right reasons, which is to redirect the energy and what's happening to these kids. And so that's been our pathway for a long time, and we're not getting off the boat yet.
You know, the interesting thing that when you and I were speaking earlier, you told me that a number of these kids that were with you when you were younger, that were on America's Most Wanted and all, you came to know them again. Describe that.
Well, there was a particular night we had just finished touring on our wake-up tours, and we had equipment in the car, and so I still stay in the inner city. So I was trying to get the equipment out of the car, and it was nighttime, and so I saw this car pulling up beside me, and dark tinted windows, and in our neighborhood we know what's going to happen if the car slows down with dark tinted windows, and I was too tired to run. So I said, God, whatever happens, it's going to happen. And so he rolls down the window, and it was one of the guys that had been locked up and in prison since I was a kid, and so you're looking at about almost 20 years later because he had a life sentence, and he rolls the window down and he looks at me. He said, I don't mean you any harm. He said, I just want to say, keep up the good work. And it was one of the most notorious drug dealers and murderers from the neighborhood that had gotten out of prison.
Oh my gracious.
And he passed away 2 years later after that. But I was able to hear, from one of the guys who used to antagonize me when I was coming up and say, keep up the good work. And I just felt like that, okay, if he can say it's good, this is great.
That's a very good thing. So he recognized that what you were doing really did make a difference.
Absolutely.
That's good. That
and
really is.
And we've raised some of their, I've mentored some of these same people's kids and didn't know it. I was mentoring them in school and saw the parent come in and say, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm mentoring this kid. And they're like, well, that's my daughter. And I'm like, your dad used to antagonize. Yeah. and so now we get a chance to do role reversals.
It's all full circle, isn't it? It really is. So you have a number of programs that you are doing with your Heal the Hood Foundation. Yes, talk to me about a couple of those programs. One
of the ones that really has allowed us to reach so many kids is the Wake Up Tour, Tour of Hope. We've been doing it since, it's older than Heal the Hood Foundation, as a matter of fact, before we got our 501c3. And we use motivational speakers, but we embed them inside of music, puppet shows, magicians, and all of this eye candy that's engraphing the kids. We even bring cosplay characters and puppets, depending on the age of the kids. And so the kids are able to make life-changing decisions because of that. So we reached a little bit over 550,000 kids since 2005. We've even been called to go to Alaska, and I was in Alaska for 9 days, doing the work, and it was weird because I was the only black guy in Alaska at this time, and I'm like, God, what am I supposed to do? And he was showing me, they're hurting people all over the world, but it's different aspects of it. So Heal the Hood is brotherhood, motherhood, fatherhood, parenthood, priesthood. Everybody has a hood, regardless to the color of your skin or your environment. If you're hurting, we use the art to be able to heal that commonality. If there's a broken parenthood, there's a broken childhood. And so our whole goal is to be able to restore that. So from the Wake Up Tours to mentoring, Evolution School of the Arts, we have to give the kids something, because we were given churches that when we tried to partner with them to get the kids discipleship, a lot of the churches told us that kids were a liability. And I was like, okay, so if these kids have no place to go, what's going to happen? And so that really bothered us, for years. And so that's what got us into filmmaking and storytelling, so that we could reach more kids, where we couldn't be at.
It's amazing. It really is. You've got some really good stories to tell. One more thing now. You're pretty much getting ready to expand your reach through your tour bus, correct?
Absolutely.
Talk about the tour bus a minute.
we were supposed to have our tour bus for what we'll talk about later is the reset day, and so we had to put all these batteries in it because it was donated to us, it was gifted to us, and so we're getting it up and running in the stage, and we're going to wrap this bus with all our superhero characters because we have a comic book series, and we're going to use that to put action characters on the tour bus, drive inside underprivileged areas and neighborhoods, get off the bus with packages and gifts for kids and comic books and just music and do this thing. And so we're going to be traveling around the city, and this is superhero tour bus of hope. And I just got a call earlier. It crunk up, and so it's ready to go to the repair shop and start getting things moving on it. So we're excited about how that's getting ready to progress.
I think that's wonderful. I want to hear more about that also in our second segment. We're going to pause now for a short break. When we return, Ladell and I will be joined by Coach Lionel Hollins, Chairman of the Board of Directors for the Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis.
When you're an adult, you need to grab a bow and arrow.
Theater prepares students in a lot of different ways.
I think it offers a great place to learn about yourself.
When you're an adult.
It'll teach you how to be a better communicator. It'll teach you how to work with people better. And it'll teach you how to get outside your comfort zone.
You have to be disciplined. You have to get your work done. So I think it's a really important lesson that I've learned.
Art in society is horrible.
So we offer Intro to Theater, which is a very, obviously a beginner's class. We offer Acting 1, which is a class where we really focus on the techniques in acting.
We're talking about you.
We offer Technical Theater, which is all the behind the scenes stuff such as lighting, sound, set building, construction, things like that. And then we also offer Speech, which is a class where you learn how to give informative speeches. You also learn how to communicate interpersonally and intrapersonally.
Thomas Jefferson once stated that all men are created equal.
I think what makes us unique is we hold ourselves to a certain standard and we don't drop below that standard.
When folks are tribal, back before the Bible, they were liable to dance when the crops
The talent that's here at the school is just so impressive, and it's so exciting to see the students not only work on the stage but behind the scenes.
Just a moon.
It is hard work, yes, but it also is fun and enjoyable.
Challenge!
The specificity of what is taught and required to be learned here in this department is so particular that they're going away with abilities and skills that other schools aren't teaching.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Donna Newman, and you're watching Inspiring Leaders. Our guests today are with the Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis. We've been talking with Ladell Beamon, founder and CEO of the organization, and we're now pleased to welcome Coach Lionel Hollins, chairman of the board of directors for the Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis. So, thank you for being here, Ladell, and staying with us, and welcome, Coach.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I'm very glad that you're here. You know, you have quite the illustrious career. You have, with the NBA, I mean, all the way with the NBA, you've been a player, you've been a highly respected coach in many locations, one of them Memphis with our Grizzlies, which we appreciated and loved. Winningest coach ever here, correct?
Not anymore, but.
I don't know about that. You are in our eyes, though, Coach. But I'm still curious to know, why did you choose to stay in Memphis, and why Heal the Hood Foundation?
Well, you know, coming here 24 years ago, I came on a one-year contract, and I brought my family here because my daughter was in high school, and she actually went to Germantown High School.
Really?
And so I moved here, and it was a big storm happened, and I woke up that morning, and it was put on my heart to start a foundation. So I started my own foundation and started helping kids in the community. and it just kept growing and growing. And then over time, my daughter got out of high school, got out of college, got her master's, got married, has a couple of kids. My other son moved here, went to UT Medical School, stayed here, got married, and has a kid. So we got 3 kids here, 3 grandkids, and so there was no way we were leaving Memphis after that fact. But it's a good city, and it's got a lot of positive aspects to it that people ignore and always want to highlight the negative.
Yeah.
But I've been here for 24 years. I've seen a lot of growth, a lot of changes in every way that you can speak of. And so I'm happy to be here, and this is home for me.
It is, isn't it? Well, we're glad that you're here. We're glad you chose Memphis from anywhere that you could have lived. But you also chose Heal the Hood Foundation. There are 3,500 nonprofits in our area. Why Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis?
Well, first of all, I was asked to come on to Heal the Hood's foundation dinner fundraiser by one of Ladell's assistants. And so I came and I spoke. And then afterwards I met Ladell and I met some of the other people that are involved. And I thought it was great. And then I met with Ladell again at a different juncture. And when you start hearing the story that he tells about the hood and about his experiences, you know that he's doing what he's doing from the heart, and that's important. And he has a passion for what he's doing. He has a passion for the kids. And also I'm sure that God put it on his heart to do some of these things, because when you think about all that he's achieved and where he started and where he is now and where he's going to go in the future, it has to be supernatural. Because everybody can start a foundation and do some things, but if it's just for your own status, if it's just for your own gain, it's never going to accomplish what it could if it was more spiritual.
That's true. That's absolutely true. I'm, still fascinated by being called to start the foundation. And, I also was fascinated by, it's not hood like what you would think it would be at the beginning. Did that surprise you too, Coach?
No, not at all. I mean, everything that we do in our community, and as you said, in our hood, is not just for our hood, it's for our city. If we empower, embolden our kids, teach them to be disciplined, teach them to make good decisions, teach them the discernment to make the right choices, then our city's going to be better. And I always say that if you go in and you help one household of kids, then that whole family is going to be blessed. And if you help one house be blessed, then the next house is going to be blessed. And as you keep going, it's going to be our streets, our neighborhood, our community, and then it's going to be the city. Because the city needs everybody to be viable, to be successful, because there's that old saying that we're only as strong as our weakest link. And if we're excluding a certain portion of our community, then we're never going to be the city that we should be.
And could be. You're exactly right. That's exactly correct. You talked a minute ago, Ladell, about the Reset Day, Memphis Reset Day. Were you there also this
I was there.
weekend?
They had me up on the stage speaking.
Of course you were. Tell me about Memphis Reset Day, why it came about, what it was, and what kind of feedback you've had.
I'm going to let Ladell handle that one, because he has the story.
Well, the thing last year, this was our second one, and but last year it was because I saw so many adults getting into it because of what was happening with the school board, what was happening with the Shelby County Commission, city. It was so much going on, and I was like, we're forgetting about the kids, in the midst of all of this that's happening, and we just need to take a break. And I just thought, it's just a revelation. Okay, we need to reset. And so that was the whole thing about being able to, start over mentally, spiritually, and connect. And one of my childhood things was, I remember field day when I was in school, May Day, and we had such a blast. And I'm like, well, what if we could do this, for the whole city, so it could be a day of rest. And we started last year, and it was amazing. And it was like, we're going to do this annually. And so it grew from probably about 800 people last year until that we just got the numbers back. They said throughout the whole day 4,000 people came through.
Wow. Oh my gracious!
It was horseback riding. It was so many vendors. I probably wouldn't have never got to see the backside had I not been walking around with a coach and the missus, because we would walk back there, looking at the food thing, and I was like, wow, where did all these people come from? And so it was just walking around seeing. It was so many, and I really don't think that I got a chance, because it was like 70 something vendors.
Wow.
And so that grew from 25 last year to 70 something. And we've had kids sharing. One kid said, and this is quote, the kid said, "This is the best day of my life." I mean, these are the reports that we're getting. A lady said it was some kids that came hungry. They walked across the street, and they thought that the food was free, and they fed the kids. And she told me, she said, the next time, if it's the All-Star game, if it's the hot air balloon that we're going to get back, said we're going to feed 25 kids for free. So get us back.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What group was that was in it?
That was the Chuck Wagon food truck. That was Chuck Wagon.
Well, we'll give them a plug. How's that?
Awesome.
Yeah, and I hope the others will join her. That's really amazing. It truly is. So, you were talking about the tour bus a minute ago. When you have the tour bus up and running, which is coming quickly, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Will it be going out to get people to come to these sorts of events?
It will, because that's real. Transportation is a huge issue, in the inner city. There are kids that are in Memphis that haven't even seen the Mississippi River. We have literally, we picked up kids that had never been to a Chick-fil-A, because there is no Chick-fil-A in South Memphis. So when you start thinking about the things that are missing, and that's one of our largest problems. A lot of kids can only go as far as they can see, and if they can only see drug trafficking and all this stuff in their community, their vision is limited. And so we got to be able to do something about that.
Well, now ultimately, you want this tour bus to bring people to your new
Absolutely.
Hero Empowerment Center. Is that what it's called?
Absolutely.
Okay, Hero Empowerment Center. All right, so to do that, how do we do that, and what is that, and what are we looking at?
I'll say this, if you think about Justice League, or if you think about the Avengers Tower, Justice League headquarters, it's like really snatching up Universal Studios and placing it right here in the city of Memphis. It's an arts-based micro city where a lot of Robert Townsend and Keenan Ivory Wayans came to Memphis, and they stayed with us for about 3 days, and they were like, okay, this city needs this, and they were running it down. And when you look at Memphis, there's no more theme parks here. Liberty Land is gone, Al's Golf Haven, X-Site, Adventure River, all these things that the kids would have pulled the kids out of where they are right now are missing. And when a city does not build around its children, we have a problem. Because Albert Einstein said energy is never lost; it's either transferred or stored. And so the Hero Empowerment Center is a place where we can redirect that energy. We've never had any fights, any violent events at our events, and so this center is going to take them away from what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. We have a 4D immersive theaters is going to be in there. We have anti-gravity rides. The parents can bring their kids and let them float away. So it's going to be some great things.
Many of us have wanted that.
So it's a lot of amenities that's going to be in there. So we're excited about that building.
It's also going to be a safe haven too, right? And that's a good
course.
thing. So, Coach, you're looking at the center and you're saying, okay, how much money do I need to raise, right?
Well, I'm looking at the center as being something great for the community and for our city. And I'm looking at how does the vision become reality?
Okay.
And, obviously funding is a huge part of it. Service is a huge part of it, because even with the kids that he has now, and where they are, need support. They need mentoring. And so you need to volunteer, but you also need to donate. And even if you don't have thousands of dollars, you have $5, you have $10, whatever that you want to donate is accepted, because it all goes into the same pool, and each, as my grandmother said, every penny counts. Don't leave that penny on the floor, because you add them up, you can get $1. So fundraising is huge. And it's important and it's necessary to do these things that we can't depend on the government, on our city and their issues they're trying to deal with. Sometimes there are people that get left out. And so we need the community to come in and do for ourselves. We can't say, well, why don't they do it? Because the question is, why don't you do it? You know, you're available. And when I ran my foundation, I encountered the same thing that he's talking about, people who had never been out of their neighborhood. And they go to school in their neighborhood, they play in their neighborhood, and they stay in their neighborhood. And so I think what Ladell is doing is important because we're growing their minds with experiences and exposure. The more you experience, the more you desire to do something. And when you do that, you become better. You may not achieve all that you set out to do, but you'll move away from where you are and where you started. And my thing is that we all started somewhere, but that's not our finish line. That's not our destiny. But you have to be pushed along. You have to be guided, inspired, and mentored to go forward. And when you propel forward, then you reach your purpose. You reach your destiny, and it's never over. You know, we're always going to be working at something because we've all been blessed and we need to turn around and bless others. And sometimes people who've been blessed with a lot of finances can contribute more than some others. So everybody is a part of this, and it's important for our community.
It really is. You didn't start out as Coach Lionel Hollins, big coach, right?
I started out like he did. I mean, I was raised by my grandmother. I had 2 sisters, 2 aunts, and my mother, we all lived in the same house. I was the only boy. And it was tough. It was about survival. And every day you left the house, you had to survive. You had to figure out ways to navigate certain people, certain streets, to get where you wanted to go and to get back home. So you learn. But you also learn that somebody helped you along the way.
You both bring a lot of credibility to this organization. You really do. You bring a lot of name recognition as well, Coach. And I got to tell you, I'm just very grateful for what you're both doing. I'm a lifelong Memphian myself, and I'm very grateful for what you're doing. And I think you're both very inspiring. Thank you very much for what you do for the community. Anything else you want to add? No?
Go to the website.
Go to the
Donate.
website.
Sign up as a volunteer. Give of your time and your talents and your finances. So this thing can be a major success. I believe it will be a major success because the Father, God, is involved in it.
You're exactly right. Go to the website and donate. You're exactly right. Thank you very much. Volunteer, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for being with us today for Inspiring Leaders. We appreciate our guests on today's show, Ladell Beamon and Coach Lionel Hollins, both with the Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis. Our community benefits greatly from their work, so if what you've heard on today's show has inspired you to volunteer or to donate or to just get involved in any way with the Heal the Hood Foundation of Memphis, then visit their website, hthmemphis.org. Again, that's hthmemphis.org. If you're interested in the air dates of Inspiring Leaders or for the station's complete programming information, please visit GHS-TV.org, where we're streaming live 24 hours a day. You can keep up with GHS-TV by visiting our website. We hope you'll like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you again for joining us. Be sure to watch our show, Inspiring Leaders, again next month.